Hi, my name is Devontae Cox. I'll be doing my oral presentation today on how Toyota became number one, written by David McGee. The book was a great read. It really focused on providing, as many examples as possible on how Toyota became an industry leader in their market, and also how they use their leadership values to set themselves apart from all of their competitors in their market. One thing that Toyota did that the author quickly found out is that they did not value their numbers as much as their competitors did. Toyota found a great sense of pride and passion on how their employees were treated and how their customers were treated. This is something that, as you will quickly soon to find out, um, set them apart from the rest. So the next point that I would like to speak about will be the original Toyota precepts. These are five different steps that Toyota uses to kind of like live everyday business practice. So the first one says, be contributive to the development and welfare of the country by working together, regardless of the position, and faithfully fulfilling your duties. So what I took away from that point was pretty much to always look to be a better you. Always look to advance yourself and also your community. No matter what level of management you are within the company, no matter if you're a blue collar or white collar worker, you always have to look to make a better surrounding in you. The second step says be ahead of the times through endless creativity, inquisitiveness, and pursuit of improvement. What I took away from that step is pretty much means to stay innovative. Don't become complacent with modern day practices. When you find yourself, always looking for the next best thing and putting in the extra work to find out, what's going to be the next big hit, you'll always find yourself ahead of the competition. The third step says be practical and avoid frivolity. So that pretty much just means, stay real to yourself. Don't overshoot yourself. Don't say, hey, I look to produce X amount when really you're supposed to only produce B amount. Just stay real to your craft and stay real to your, production and numbers. The fourth step says be kind and generous. Strive to create a warm, home-like atmosphere. This is a very, very important step. Toyota, when the author was conducting interviews and, looking to speak with, one thing that he noticed is that most people felt like this company was a family. They didn't really look at it as, business to customers, top level management to frontline managers. They looked at it more so as a community, as one, as a whole. When you have that home type feeling environment, it makes you want to be the best you in your environment. It makes you want to make the company move. So when you have that trait in business, you're almost unbeatable when it comes to any type of competitors or competition, knocking at your doorstep. The fifth step says be reverent and show gratitude for things great and small in thought and deed. So what I took away from that is no matter how big or small the deed or accomplishment is, treat it to be just as equally as happy for both of those achievements. It will go a long way. It will make the person that may have a smaller achievement want to achieve those bigger achievements. And it also will keep the people who achieve the big achievements humble. Um, so that is something that, definitely was a key factor in this book. One thing that you hear a lot when you hear the name Toyota and studying in business is TPS, the Toyota Production System. This includes three different steps that quickly pull Toyota aside and apart from the rest of the pack. And it's actually something that most competitors, such as GM, such as Ford, such as Nissan, actually look to shape their business model and principles around. So the first step in the TPS system is customer first, meaning you want to always make sure your customer's best interest is at hand. Even if you feel like in your heart the customer is completely wrong, you know that they're just getting over on you, you got to make sure the customer comes first. You got to make sure the customer leaves happy. When you can move and provide these principles in a day to day business function, you set yourself aside. The customer will always come back again. Even if they say, hey, I was a little rough on them this time, getting that repeated business is the main concept and purpose when dealing with customers. The second step is employee satisfaction. When you have employee satisfaction, you're creating a sense in an environment that these people like coming to work. It's not that they're sitting in their desk 12 hours a day or top level managers traveling from city to city, country to country. It's I like what I do. I value my team. I value my team, and it is what it is. The company comes first. Having employee satisfaction can make for long-term workers, cutting back your retention, which would eventually profit the company on the back end. The last thing in TPS is the company stability. One thing that you look at Toyota is that when you had the economy stock market crash with car sales, when GM and Ford, took their toes and took a tank and, produced industry lows, Toyota always drew a flat line. That was something that the author felt like was very unique with the company. They never once dropped down lower than their company average. They always seemed to just go at an even, steady pace, which ultimately will set Toyota up to become the number one supplier. This is because they're always going to be at that same even level flow. So when I relate my current company, Enterprise Holdings, to Toyota, one thing that sticks out to me is that just in my company, everybody starts at a lower level position and then they work their way up to the top. It's kind of cool because once you get to that top level management, you look down at that frontline manager position you started at, and you still have that same level of respect because you were once in those shoes. Now, Toyota, not everybody starts from the bottom and goes to the top, but those frontline managers and those top level managers have that same mutual respect because of the founding principles that they were founded on. Nobody in a top level management opinion compared to a frontline manager's opinion is going to be held unequal. They're going to be held the same. It's just the same in my company. So it kind of creates a very nice sense of, passion in your workforce. It makes you want to come to work. It makes you want to, look up to those leaders and figure out, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm impacting the company. And it's a cool sense because they're looking back at you. Those top level managers are looking back at you saying, oh, that's neat. This is what I'm doing. And this is what I'm doing. And I respect what you're doing just like you respect what I'm doing. So that's something that definitely sticks out to me between my company and Toyota. The course pack, we studied an article called Conceptual Frameworks and Research Models in Leadership. This article focused mainly on resilient leaders. Being a resilient leader means you can be faced with adversity in a situation, whether it's conflict, whether it's somebody calling in, whether it's emotional. It's how it's, but being resilient as a leader means how are you going to bounce back from that troubling situation that you're being encountered with. Being able to be a resilient leader in my organization personally, you definitely have to have that trait. You're going to be faced with customers every single day that will call you names, will tell you stories right in front of your face, will say you're the worst person ever when you're really providing the best customer service ever. But it's really about how you can keep your composure and how you can be resilient to the situation to get to that root of the problem to make sure they're satisfied when they leave. It's just like with the book. Being resilient in Toyota, you definitely have to look at how everybody looks at Toyota and goes, hey, they're nobody. They're not a GM. They're not a Ford. They're not a Chrysler. They're not a Nissan. But in reality, their numbers have been even across the board. Even when they became the leading industry in that market, they didn't get the respect. They still don't have the same brand recognition as those other brands. But being resilient in that manner, it just makes you want to keep going where you're going. Keep producing good numbers and keep keeping your employees at a higher standard and your customers at a higher standard. Well, I hope that my presentation was very resourceful and impactful, and will provide great detail. And I hope you find key facts and points that you can include in your everyday management practices. The book again was How Toyota Became Number One by David McGee. I would definitely recommend to read to any manager looking to advance their career, just because it gives you so many small, key, impactful moves to make, as a manager. I'm open at this time for any questions or concerns that you may have had about the presentation. And I do thank you again for your time. My name is Devontae Cox.